a superstar. He is an absolute superstar, Tom Mitchell. Cripps at the back. Cripps is too good. Neil, yes! Oh, how good was that?
All right, it's not often you get two blokes with a genuine basketball background in the same van. We're in the podcast van. And boys, thanks so much for joining. Josh Giddey, Scotty Pendlebury. We were just chatting off air then about Pat Beverley. That's actually my nickname I've been given on the basketball court at the club. Pendles, you want to talk us through that one a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think you come across as Kevin Durant from Hawthorn and then quickly got put in your place after some one-on-ones.
I was number one seed at Hawthorn and came in with a pretty big head thinking, you know,
he was on the court early, dribbling through the legs, and when we have like touch and stuff, you'd always see him on the floor, like working on his craft with the basketball though.
Yeah.
And then we got some one-on-one going, and he went from the penthouse to the shithouse pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly where I am still. So I've found my role as a defensive lockdown on the court, and I'm happy to just play my role. So.
Very physical though. Like you'd be playing one-on-one, and he's up and in.
That's how I get my minutes.
Using his big turtle abs.
We'll have big Gids in there today, so we're going to head into the club and show me around the facility after this. And what are you thinking? We do a bit of one-on-one, king of the court, three-point shootout. You want to do it all?
Do it all.
Because we actually had a shootout the other day at Hoop City, and you weren't too happy with the smaller balls. You had the size sixes. You were throwing a few bricks up early.
I was. Too many bricks.
Yeah.
Brendan Maynard looked good, though.
Brazzy was looking good. Brazzy's looking good. Is he? Did he used to play, Braz?
Yeah, he used to play.
His brother was an NBL player.
Yeah.
Corey. I've heard he was.
Townsville.
Yeah.
And Tommy Wilson, you just spoke before about Tommy.
Yeah.
So Tommy, obviously been at the Pies for a few years now. And how good was he? Was he close
was a gun. He played Melbourne Tigers when I was a junior. He was older than me. And then he played for what's the NBL one now. It's called Siebel back then.
Yeah.
He played for Melbourne. I used to watch him all the time, and he played for Australia. He played in the NBL. So he was a gun. And I don't think people realize how good he was. And then obviously made the switch to footy. But yeah, Tommy was a gun when he played.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's the number 2 ranked international recruit at one stage.
Yeah, right. I
think he played
to Europe for a bit.
You know the team where like Dante got in a fight with the other day? Was it Barcelona versus Partizan?
Yeah, Partizan.
That's where like Tommy was.
Yeah, right.
That team in Serbia. That's a crazy story.
He was really good.
How close? I know you would have been asked this 1,000 times, but how close were you with the basketball and footy decision? Because AIS, you're in the basketball academy.
I was lucky. My age group was the top age back then. The World Cup was every 4 years.
Yeah.
So I was the top age for that. So it's sort of like they were trying to get that group in together at the AIS to sort of get us ready for like the lead in for that.
Yeah.
So I was probably at that point where I was like sort of earmarked to go to the World Cup,
Cool.
but decided to come back and play footy and the rest is sort of history.
You made the right choice, mate.
Yeah.
How is the eye feeling? Obviously, it's looking better. Like last week when I saw you after the game, you look so sore.
Yeah.
Like the incident itself, like poke in the eye, jarred finger, blisters, underrated injury, but that was a serious poke in the eye because he didn't come back on.
Yeah, no, I said of probably all the injuries I've had, this was like by far the most painful I've ever felt. Like I thought I was going to throw up on the ground. So it felt like his thumb went to the back of my head. And then I seen like blood coming out my nose. I thought it was my eyeball for a second and I was like, oh, this isn't great. Yeah, and then went downstairs and I remember the doc sort of saying like, oh, can you see Darcy when I come back on? And I was like, yeah, I can see him here and I can see him here as well. Like, I had double vision. And then, so it's coming along now. Had surgery Friday night. So I'm 3 days post getting some stitches and stuff in. So I'm starting to feel okay. It doesn't look great.
The stitches actually in the eyeball?
Yeah, I got 4 stitches in the eyeball. So I was sedated when they did that. So it's not nice sitting there. You can't really feel it or remember it, but when they're trying to like stick a needle in, you can see the needle coming into your eye, like not to twitch or flinch.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
So
you've been pretty durable with your start to your career. Like you would have barely missed.
No, I missed the back half of last year after the All-Star break. I had a hip problem. I flew to New York to see a hip specialist, and best thing was just to like let it rest.
Yeah.
And then this year I played 76 games, so I was good this year, but last year I missed a fair bit.
And you said the one game you were sick for was when Drake was in town?
Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, I was sick at home. I don't know if it was this year or last year, and Drake was in Oklahoma, and I'm a huge Drake fan. And
it's not often he's been in Oklahoma.
Nah, I know, exactly. I still don't know what he was doing there, but he was courtside, and I wasn't at the game. So.
Yeah. And obviously it's playoff time at the moment. We're all loving it. I know who your tip is. Do you think Phoenix?
I think Phoenix, yeah.
And who do you think that comes out of the East?
I think Boston. And Phoenix will be the finals.
What about you, Pendles?
Oh,
I was going to say the Lakers.
No, I'm a big Lakers man, but I still just like you've got to beat Golden State. Until someone beats them, I'm like they're going to win.
Yeah.
Even the other day, Game 7, like that's phenomenal.
What did you think about what Steph's 50-point game? Did you watch the game?
No, it was at 5:30 in the morning. I was going to wake up for it, but no, it was a bit too early.
It's your time to put the feet up at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is your off season.
Yeah.
How does your body cope? How old are you? Not 20?
20.
How does your body cope with 76 games, the travel, stuff like that?
It gets better. I mean, first year was tough. I was sore, like, every 2 or 3 games I felt like, I couldn't go the next night. But second season I was good. I kind of managed my body better, whether that's, massage, cold tub, hot tub, things like that. But because we travel with, a bunch of physios and masseuses and things like that. So we have all that available to us. But my first year, I didn't use any of it. I wanted to just lay in my room and then relax. But this year I used it a bit more and body feels good. So you kind of need to keep it good, for 82 games. It's a long year.
Oh, 100%. Like the travel schedule you guys have.
Yeah.
So they're not, you've got to go and seek that sort of stuff, like the massage, physio.
Yeah, both, but they're available. I mean, essentially 24/7. If you're sore or something, guys get massages, all times of hours of the night. But yeah, they're available pretty much when you need them.
Yeah.
We're talking outside about Harden, Westbrook, and Durant when they were at OKC, and how they used to always leave the facility. Pendles, you might be better off telling the story.
I have a mate still there. He was saying they surveyed the players at OKC. This is before your time, but they put in a barbershop and a car wash. And I was asking Josh before if it's still there, because the number one reason some of the players were leaving was to go get their hair cut or get their car washed. So they brought that in-house so the players would stick around longer, which is incredible.
Does it work?
Yeah, it does. Guys getting the car wash all the time. There's a barbershop kind of in like behind the locker room where the players are, and I don't know if many guys use it. I don't.
Yeah.
But it's still there. Barbershop and the car wash.
Who's got the best car in the car park?
Oh, Shea's got some good cars. He just got a one of 150 Maybachs that just got released. He has a Lamborghini G-Wagon. Guys have all types of, there's a lot of Lamborghinis in there. Ferraris. There's all types of stuff.
What's he spending on his kits as well? Because I know he'd be...
Shea?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot. A lot. I don't know exact dollars, but I mean, he has something different every night. You rarely see him wear the same thing twice.
Yeah.
I feel like your kit game increased from year 1 to year 2.
It did.
It's been elite.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big part of basketball. It's not as much, here in Australia, but dressing up and I got into it a bit. But my first year I was wearing, this stuff every day. So
The boy from Melbourne still in your first year.
Yeah, I love that. So Daniel, your agent, was actually saying that so Shea actually goes out. Does he get his own clothes or he gets given his clothes, or how does he do it?
I'm sure there'd be companies and brands that give him stuff, but from what I understand, I don't think he doesn't have a stylist. He dresses himself, but he'd have people that, help source him stuff and get him clothes. But no, he dresses himself by himself.
Yeah. And then once he's done with it, that's one and done.
I mean, I've very rarely seen him more than once. So
if he's going to just bring it back, it's like the Allen Iverson stories back in the day. You've read that? Have you read that stuff?
Yeah, I've
he used
seen
to
it.
just like leave his stuff, his jewelry, everything in the hotel room where he stayed.
Just leave it there.
Yeah, just leave it. It's like a gift for whoever cleaned his room.
Yeah.
He's actually in Australia later this year, which would be pretty cool.
Hey,
I think we're planning some stuff with him, which would be awesome. So I've heard a story about him as well. Apparently got back from an away game, landed back in Philly in his prime, couldn't find his car at the airport. This is a true story. And then so he's like, can't find it. I'll leave it there. Got a taxi to the closest car dealership and bought another one.
Struggling.
Really struggling. So who wins each series? Let's go through. Let's start with your Lakers and the Warriors.
I think Warriors.
In how many games?
6.
Yeah, I'm the same.
You're not a fan of the Lakers, are you?
I'm not a Lakers fan, but I just think Golden State's tough to beat, especially in the finals. I don't think the Lakers match up well with Steph and Clay.
Yeah.
I think they're too good.
Yeah.
I feel like Lakers are embracing like big basketball against the side who's elite at like small ball.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I don't know. I can't see it working unless AD goes absolutely bananas, but still.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening.
And so who else we got? We got Denver, Phoenix.
I think
in the
Phoenix
West.
in 7. I think it'll be a good series, but I think Phoenix wins it.
1 down.
So it's going to have to go to 6 at least.
Booker's been scoring and shooting high percentage.
He's been good.
Yeah.
I'm going Denver.
Yeah. In how many?
In 7.
Yeah. I think it goes to 7 either way, but I think Phoenix gets
They've been thereabouts, Denver. Like every year it seems as though they're at the top of the standings and they just can't quite get through to a Western Conference.
Jamal Murray's playing.
He's healthy. He looks
so
good.
much better, which is big. And then I think Phoenix just haven't had enough time to like
gel,
click. But mind you, they've got like Durant and Booker can score.
Yeah.
Like, just give them the ball, they can score one-on-one.
Celtics, Philly. That's going to be tough without Embiid. I don't know how long he's out for, but that's...
they're saying he might be back for game 2, but I think Celtics win it either way.
Yeah, same. Celtics 6.
And then we got the Knicks and...
Miami.
The Heat.
That's a tough one. That's going to be a good series. I think it goes to 7. I think Miami wins it.
For the love of basketball, New York in 6.
Imagine the Knicks
the
fans.
Garden. It's so good.
Yeah.
So how does Miami seem to have, I don't know, since they've made the playoffs now, like they're put themselves in potential contention to come out of the East, even though they finish as an 8 seed, which is quite rare.
Sides have more time now. Like the Miami can lock in on who they're playing, scout much better, take things away.
Yeah. Because they were one game away from not making the playoffs at all. They were the 8th seed. They lost the first playing game to Atlanta, and then they had to win the next one or they were done.
Yeah.
So they come from barely making the playoffs to, now 1-0 in the semifinals. So they're looking good.
Yeah. And what about like yourself? Like do you watch a lot of basketball? Like you'll watch all these playoff games?
Yeah, I watch tons of it. I mean, when it's not, 3 a.m, I'm up. I'll be watching most of the games. But it's a different feeling now watching it, that you actually, you play in the NBA. It used to be different from when I was a kid watching the finals to, now actually play against these guys. And it's a different feeling because, you want to be there. But I still love watching it.
Yeah. We asked him the other day about where he was right on the court when LeBron made the shot to put himself as the all-time leading scorer.
Yeah.
You should have fouled him or something.
I was right there. He was at the top of the key. I was on the elbow.
I remember that. You were like almost like the help defender.
Yeah, I was thinking about going, but I'm like, let it go.
At least you're in the image.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to be part of. And do you see like your career, like obviously you don't know what happens, but you want to stay in OKC? Like you're happy?
Yeah, I love it. The city's great. The organization's great. We got a young group. Everyone's 25 or below for the most part. So it's a young team, and I love my teammates. So hopefully spend the rest of my career there.
And you're saying last night at dinner as well that you can sign an extension that has to be 4 to 5 years. So when can you extend this out? And
you can sign an extension after your 3rd year. So rookie contracts are 4 years. If you're a first round pick, which means top 30, your first 2 years are guaranteed. Your second 2 are, I'm pretty sure, team options.
Yeah.
And then after your 3rd season, you can start renegotiating for whatever contract. But that doesn't kick into your 5th year. Yeah. So you can renegotiate after your 3rd.
Be a nice check.
It's what it's what AFL should get to is how the NBA structure their deals. Like the AFL, like we do like 2-year deals for our first.
That's the max you can do, 2 year.
No, you can do guys can sign like 10-year deals.
10 years,
which is I think is ridiculous.
That's a long
time. Like you guys can sign. I think it's like 4 years if you get traded and 5 years if you stay at your club.
Yeah.
So I think AFL should because so many clubs sign like to get a good player. It's like I've got to offer him like 9 years, and it's like this is going to kill your cap.
Yeah.
Whereas over there,
more loyalty does it? If you can offer
not more loyalty, but I think just the way their contracts are structured, like it's reward based. Like certain levels of max you can get to depending on if you've made like first team, second team, all that sort of stuff.
True, yeah.
So, but then like you can't get because in AFL there's no, the guy ranked 30th in the league, he can be making the most money, like way more than everyone else because you trade for him to get him in. Whereas it's sort of like capped. It's like the best players make this depending on, like say LeBron, like 18-time All-Star, all that sort of stuff. He's like at the maximum level, like Giannis, all those guys. But I think the rookie guys in the AFL, like a Nick Dacos all the first rounders should sign like 4-year deals. Otherwise like 2 years and then they're like, I just want to go home.
Nick's on 2-year deal.
Yeah,
so all the rookies on. Like,
standard
2 years guaranteed.
Yeah, standard 2 years. And then like the club though, you can negotiate straight away before they've even played a game. Like a month into starting at Collingwood, you could sign.
Do get to a 4-year deal.
Yeah. But like there's nothing saying like, so if Nick last year, before he even played a game, the club could have extended him 8 years.
Really?
And there's nothing against that.
Is there a limit how many years you can extend?
No.
You can go for as
long, lengthy deals.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I think like Buddy Franklin signed a 10-year deal at 26.
With Hawthorn?
Sydney.
9 or 10-year.
9 or 10-year deal.
Wow.
And it's like, I think I love the way the NBA do that. With like team options, player options. It will all come in, I think, to AFL, like player options, team options.
There's no player options here? It's all team option?
There's no such thing as team
No
player.
options at all?
Yeah, no. It's just
really?
And you go to the deal.
So if you sign a 10-year deal, it's all guaranteed?
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah. But there'd be triggers within that. Like you might, if you win a best and fairest, you might get X amount more. But if you don't play a certain amount of games, it might get taken off you, stuff like that. Like you don't even have, like to get traded in our league, like the player has to consent to everything.
Yeah, you can say no.
Really?
Whereas in the NBA, what you were chatting about last night is a team can just send you anywhere and then they'll just take up their contract. But the player may not have any say in the NBA.
So if they try to trade one of you and you don't want to go, what happens?
You don't go.
You can put your foot down.
Like, yeah.
Really?
You don't sit out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We only have a window at the end of season for like 2.5, 3 weeks where you can get traded.
Right.
So like we should.
Even that would be cool to open up, I think.
Yeah, like if there was a mid-season trade period.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
up to about round 11 where you could like still trade guys. Because at the moment there's guys at other clubs that, could be playing potentially here or whatever. Like we don't have a ruckman at the moment.
True.
Yeah.
If you're not doing anything for a couple of weeks.
I'd love to. Trust me.
I'd
love to.
But we can't get a ruckman now, even if we needed one, until mid-season and we get one pick.
Yeah.
So if you needed to, they should be able to trade. Like, and the fans would love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it'd be great.
It'd create so much excitement if a player was plucked from anywhere. Like, imagine just a local guy just dominating, just get him in for a few weeks, 10-day contract.
Yeah, I think that's where the AFL, we're a little bit behind, but I think we'll get there with like player options, team options.
Have you always structured yours? Have you liked to do longer ones, shorter ones? How have you sort of approached your career?
Longer deals. I think I did like 2 years, and then maybe like 4, 6, 4.
Yeah.
I've been around a little bit.
Yeah. I can tell that feels like.
Yeah.
And you would have had, over your time, I'm sure, offers coming in from pretty much every club.
Yeah, well, I was around like 22, 23 when the startup clubs come in.
True.
So like Gold Coast and GWS. So we had offers from them. Yeah, I had offers from both of them, but like we just won a flag here. Yeah. It's like I'm not going to a startup club when we're like in premiership contention and stuff like that. And I was fortunate. Like I played in finals. Like my second year, we played in that overtime final. Remember at Subi against West Coast where there was like extra time and then we won by like 2 goals.
Was that 07?
07. Yeah. So it was like just once it was what final was it called?
Elimination.
Yeah, elimination final. And it was just a draw at the end of regulation. No one sort of had any idea what was happening. And they're like, you play, I think it was like 5 minutes each way.
Right.
And then we kicked 3 goals in the extra time and won. And it was like, so I was like 19, or was 18, maybe 18 or 19. But anyway, like my first 7 years was like finals. Big games, 90,000 at the G. So I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm fully loving that. You would experience that after even just Anzac Day, like Collingwood, just
that was
95,000 people. Like it's.
I feel like, in my footy experience, like so grateful to play for 2 awesome clubs prior to Collingwood. I'm like, this is on another level here. This is like finals atmosphere in round 5. It's like this is unbelievable.
Well, you get it. Like you had it against Richmond round 3, Geelong round 1. Like then we get Carlton
on the weekend. Like that's a sellout at a full away crowd.
Yeah. Just that, like for us playing AFL, I feel like I was like blessed to get drafted to Collingwood because like I'm experiencing like everything you think
of
AFL potentially is sure. When you get drafted, where you're like big crowds, you train here, you get like always play like. We just play on the MCG. We barely ever like away games Marvel. So like it's just like it's awesome, it's a cool package to be a part of.
100%. What's your favourite city to play in?
New York's fun. I mean, Madison Square is always fun to play in. We only get to go there once a year. You play how they structure is you play if you're on the West Coast, if you're the Western Conference team, you only play East teams once home and away. So we only get to go to Madison Square once, Miami once. But I'd say New York. Boston.
Triple-double your first game at New York?
Yeah, first game in New York.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's a fun place to play. I mean, you got to make the most of it. You only go on there once a year. So make the most of it.
I saw your name I can't remember who the other names were, but you've had a few records like that. Like we showed you the one the other day of your first, whether you call it a play-in game or playoff game, but your first postseason game, most points ever scored in your debut.
Yeah.
Topped Iverson, Durant. Or some crazy names.
I think the photo went around between a few of us here. It's like Josh Giddey, LeBron James, Allen Iverson, Larry Bird. Like that's got to be.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, whether you call it postseason or not, we'll have to debate.
No, we count it. We count that for sure.
Absolutely.
Which crowds are the most hostile?
It's a good one. New York they're pretty hostile. New Orleans was tough. We played there now. That's where we played the playing game. Golden State's tough to play in. Their crowds are loud.
Their new stadium's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Over the break.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Well, I'd say Boston's also tough.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of most stadiums get packed out every night.
Yeah.
And especially if you're like, we got way better from this year to last year. Our crowds are huge. Like we packed it out a lot of the nights.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Bit of a topic diversion, but yesterday, Pendles, this could be a good one for you. AFL named a new CEO, which is obviously a new era in AFL admin. What would you... If you were in charge, is there anything you'd change about the game, whether it be rules about the game or anything? I've really put you on the spot here, but is there anything that, because I know you're so knowledgeable about not only on-field but off-field, is there anything that you're real passionate about that you would bring in or change?
Put me on the spot. I think from a game point of view, like I'd fix holding the ball. I think that's like the tackle holding the ball is like a big issue. I'd love to bring in like team prior opportunity. So if I've got it and I've given it a disposal, like that's that's your prior opportunity as a team. So if it's around a stoppage and stuff and no one gets it out, like it's just you tackle, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But if we're out in space and I loop a handball up to you and you get nailed, it's like, well, that's holding the ball. Like your team's had way too many chances and you just made the mistake.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring that because I reckon it would open the game up. Yeah. I think they do it in Gaelic, like, you're not allowed to play the ball off the ground if you go to ground, things like that.
Yeah.
That's one for me. I still think the players in our game and the coaching staff and that are heavily underpaid.
Yeah.
And everyone will go, oh, you get paid so much as players. It's like, I think the executive team in the AFL are the highest paid people in the game.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but there's no other league in the world where the exec team's paid more than the players.
Yeah.
I think the players, like I think of a guy like Nick Dacos, Dusty Martin, like they cannot live normal lives in Melbourne.
No way.
Like they can't, like not even possible to go out anywhere.
Last night, we had a dinner and like every second person, you know, and you've experienced that your whole career.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, you're getting paid $250K. And it's like, yeah, but he's like, I feel like if you're a good player in the AFL for a long period of time, you've got to reward these guys because we don't want like cricket, rugby, all these sports to start to overtake how much they're paying their best players because then we'll lose kids to that sport. That's what I think. I'll get shot down. All players are greedy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
but I think, because I think in the NBA, like you guys have, it's like 51% of revenue of what you bring in. Like we're 28%
Is that right?
of revenue.
What was the year they did the lockout as well? The players just sort of
2009 or 11.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah.
No, that's good. What about you're a big footy watcher as well? How like closely do you watch? You watch obviously. I'm going to say you're a Pies man now.
I'm slowly heading in that direction. Yeah.
Hawks, but converted to Pies.
Yeah.
How closely do you watch? Like, do you watch players? Do you watch teams?
Yeah.
Who have you admired over your time watching footy? Because I know growing up, you know, in Yarraville, you played a lot of footy yourself.
Yeah, I was a big. I mean, I told this to you. I was a big Buddy Franklin fan. I used to have posters of him in my room, and when they won that three-peat, you know, back in, I was a young kid back then. I used to love the Hawks, but now, I mean, I try to watch as much as I can. It sucks with the time difference, but you know, tried to get to the Anzac Day game, but unfortunately that couldn't happen.
We have to sort him out later in the year. Pendles, get him in.
Yeah, but my mum and sisters are huge Pies fans. Mum's a massive Scotty Pendlebury fan, so she was a static post game. Yeah. So she when I told her I was coming here, she was over the moon about it.
Yeah.
But, my dad's a Hawks fan, mum and sister's a Collingwood fan, so I'm sitting right on the fence right now. And trying to see where I go.
What do your teammates say or guys around the league say when you say, oh yeah, I played AFL growing up? They're like, what is that? Yeah,
a lot of them don't know what it is. So one of our coaches, I was actually talking, I found this out not long ago. He tried out for like I think it was Essendon. He's one of our coaches now, and back in the day, he never kicked a footy before, and they saw him and got him through like a tryout process, whatever it was, and he didn't really like it. But you know, it's just funny to see that some of the Americans really do like know what it is. But a lot of the guys, when they see like the hits and there's no padding like the NFL or anything, they get shocked. So they're not familiar with it.
Yeah, gotcha. What about the most, like there's a lot of good things that go with the NBA. What are some of the challenges or the things that are less glamorous? Like let's go with both. What are the things that you love about it and the things that you find challenging? Because I'm sure, Pendles, in your time you would experience the same thing. There's so much good and, like you said, so grateful to do what we do, but then there's also challenges and a lot that goes with it that makes it a bit tougher.
Yeah. I'd say one of the best parts we were talking about last night is the flying. You don't have to, when we charter planes, you don't have to wait around at airports, things like that. That's one of the things I love.
Yeah.
But one of the tough things, I mean, 82-game season, there's a lot of debate about, you know, whether it's too long, and you see players load managing, and you know, fans want to see the best players play. So, I mean, it's not an issue for me because, you know, I'm 20, I'm playing, you know, pretty much every game. You know, but the superstars, you know, fans pay to see them play. So, that's one of the, you know, topics they're discussing. And obviously, just out of the mid-season tournament, which will, you know, could give an incentive for teams to, you know, play harder throughout the middle of the year. But I mean, it's the NBA. They're doing a good job of how it is.
Do you think a play-in tournament would work well for the AFL? You know, that week off before the finals, if you had a couple of games then, like that would create a buzz. And that's another 4 fan bases potentially that are involved.
Yeah. I like it would just, because you know, it's like when you're not going to play finals, there's no carrot because you're like, oh, we're not even near 8th place.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, if there's 9 and 10 available and you're only 2 games away, it keeps you active for longer.
Yeah.
I reckon it just the supporter bases would come along. As you said, like you played in a play-in game. It's like, imagine if these sides, for example, it was Hawthorn versus Essendon in a playing game, or Hawthorn versus Collingwood in a playing game, like 9v10. That's 90,000 at the G.
Packing that out.
Like, absolutely. But I think we would have to do it slightly different because, like, you know, you guys can play every second day. We'd have to go 7v10, 8v9, just straight elimination.
True.
If you win, you're in. If you lose, you're done. And then next week.
The top 8 teams get the advantage of the week off. Freshen up, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the top 6.
Top 6.
Top 6.
True.
Top 6. Yeah. I reckon that would work.
Yeah.
And it would just, as you said, like extra game, broadcasters want extra games, like the revenue they'd bring in would be crazy. And top 6 get the week off and then go for it.
I do like that. Who do you think will win the MVP? I've actually asked you.
Yeah.
I think Jokic wins.
I think Embiid will win it. I mean, it's a toss-up, but
Everyone's bored of Jokic, aren't they?
yeah, I think that's hurting him. Yeah, I think he should win it. I'd give it to him, but Embiid, I mean, he's going to deserve it, and he'll probably win it.
I felt like he had a PR team behind him.
Who's that?
Embiid.
Yeah.
In the second half of the year, pushing his case for
Jokic
MVP.
doesn't even have social media.
Nah.
He doesn't know what's
Well, I
going
think
on.
they were scheduled to play like late in the year, and Embiid pulled out.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's bigger than any PR case. Like, go dominate him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he pulled out and then played the next game and had like 50. So
Really?
He
Yeah.
obviously weren't that sore.
Yeah.
But
So who do you think?
I think Jokic will win it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who actually
There'll be
gets
3 in a row,
There's
eh?
100 votes,
Yeah.
isn't there? 100 votes?
Yeah,
Or more.
media and I don't know how they split it up. but-
Coaches,
Bill
players?
Simmons gets a vote.
Does he? Does
yeah.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's 100 voters.
You
I don't
guys
know
vote? You guys do any
if
voting?
Nah, I don't think the players get
For
to vote.
All-Star or anything?
For all, yeah, we vote for All-Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, but MVP, it's all the media and all the experts and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think pretty sure there's 100 voters, and I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it'll obviously come down to Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, and I mean I think it'll be Embiid, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Wait and see. What are your ambitions? Like, the obvious one's to be an NBA champion, but I'm sure you've got goals you're setting along the way, and your career's trajectory is going like this already in 2 years. What do you want to achieve? Have you got any short-term goals, long-term goals?
Yeah, I mean championships is obviously the most important one. Everyone wants to be an all-star, all-NBA player, but I think championships is important.
Is that for championships? Is that for everyone in the league? Do you feel like everyone in the league wants championships?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone would say it, but not everyone would mean it.
Yeah.
Some guys would probably just want their paycheck.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it's a very Australian thing to want team success.
yeah, it is.
I look at some of the Americans in the league and I'm like, I feel like they would rather almost be like first team all NBA than win a title. I know like Australians are like the boomers culture, all that sort of stuff. It's always just team success,
So
win.
tight.
Yeah.
Well, you speak about, you might be, you touch on the culture, like, Australian sport compared to American sport. Like, how like we'll all catch up, hang out, in the locker room away from footy. Talk to us a little bit about what it's like in basketball. It's not like that.
It's not, but I think our team's like an exception because we've got such a young group. Guys, we spend so much time together, whether it's on flights, in hotels, on the road. A lot of our guys love shopping, so that's a good way that we all connect. We all have similar interests and hobbies. So I'd say our team's like an exception that we hang out so much.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard around the league, other teams don't hang out nearly as much as we do. And that's one of the advantages. We got a close team. So hopefully, going forward, that, helps us.
So let's say a superstar like, I don't know, let's use Luka Doncic. Like he would have his own personal team that he, like with his, say, physio and I don't know, his agent and his friends, like he would just sort of go with his clique. I'm just using him as an example.
Yeah.
It might not even be true for him.
Yeah. I know guys like have their own people that are on board. Like I know LeBron's got his own personal guy that works with the Lakers. I know Chris Paul has his own like bodyguard manager that travels with Phoenix. So I know there's dudes around the league that, bring their own people in. You've obviously got to be a star to have that kind of treatment where you can bring in your own people to the club. But yeah, guys, like there was obviously the AI thing we're talking about. He used to, fly, his hairstylist, all his friends around to all his games. And
I can join to go. He'd be the closest to do that. He gets a haircut every second day.
Guys, I mean, guys travel around with like, an entourage of people. But yeah, as I said, you got to be one of the star players to get that, type of treatment from a team to, let you bring in your own people.
Yeah. Who've been your favorite NBA players, Pendles, over the year time?
I was like Jordan,
That era?
Kobe.
Yeah.
Like they were just unbelievable. I love watching Kobe play. Like just when he was like one-on-one, mid-post, his footwork and stuff.
Mid-range game.
And then Steph, like, because he changed. I feel like he's changed the game forever. Like you go anywhere now. So I was saying, like I talked to Tommy Wilson about when I used to play basketball coming down, it was always like the bigs would have to get their head under the rim. And if you were a point guard and you didn't pass them the ball when their head was under the rim, you're like shot, like training would stop.
Yeah.
If he's open, like reward the big, it was all like big man. Whereas like now it's like big man. It's like, just get out the way. Set me a screen and I'll get you involved or just probably just sit on the bench. Yeah. So I was like, I've watched sort of that transformation.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I love like just Steph, what he can do now and then how everyone's sort of piggybacking on that.
What about yourself, kids?
What NBA
In terms
players?
of basketball, yeah.
I love watching LeBron. I mean, Luka, it sounds weird because he's only a few years older than me, but, I love watching him.
You guys be similar size?
Yeah, he's a big unit. Like, he's a big guy. He's probably 6'8", and he's heavier than me, so he's a big dude.
Is he a
But,
bit out of shape? He looks like he might be a little bit out of shape.
I mean,
He doesn't have a dietitian in his team.
Nah,
does
he's
he?
drinking beers not for a game.
yeah, he's strong, like strong dude.
Yeah.
How does that part of life work? Like, because like having a drink, if I don't know if you drink or whatever, but like being a 20-year-old, trying to be a 20-year-old in what is like a hectic world. Like we have like 7-day breaks all the time, so we can have a beer if we want. Like you don't get that opportunity a hell of a lot, I would assume. But how does that work for you?
Yeah, it's tough because you want to do those type of things and go out and have fun, but you're playing. You can't do that because you're playing the next night. You get like if we get a 3-day break, that's like a long break, and that's pretty rare. Usually, 1 night, 2 night max is our break, but it is annoying, and especially the part you were talking about, going out and doing things that normal 20-year-olds would do, you can't really do anymore. So that part of it's tough, but it's part of the gig, and you kind of just got to get used to it.
I'm sure there's guys that do it though.
I'm sure there is. I know there is. But some guys like to have fun. But you live in your dream lifestyle, I guess, of playing in the NBA. So guys can use it how they want, and some guys like to have fun with it. Other guys are more locked in and professional about it. So
is it certain teams that have that reputation that sort of like to go out and have a look?
There is, there is, there's guys obviously around the league that are known for, going out and partying, but, it is, especially when you go over to teams where we live in Oklahoma, you fly to a big city, it can be fun to go out and have fun with your teammates, and the coaches, and the organization's never like, don't have fun, don't go out, just as long as it's, responsible and you kind of stick together as a group. There's no issues with it.
I remember reading about Popovich, how he'd organise like little dinners wherever they were going, and he'd like pick all the wine. He'd bring in his own wine, organise dinners for the team, like pick the menus, like wines and stuff. I think that would be so dope, like playing in a game and then going like Pop's organised. And he used to pick where people would sit.
Is that right?
Too, like, it's just crazy.
He want you to interact with different people.
I don't know. I just remember reading about, I think when Paddy was there was a big story about how Pop created the culture. Yeah. It was like when they were going places, and he'd organise dinners and wines, and people were like expected to come, and you had to bring stuff. And I thought that was like awesome.
Kind of cool. Probably why he's, arguably separated as one of the better coaches when you hear stories like that, bringing people together. Mm-hmm. What about, I want to ask the same question with AFL, like I've never asked you this, who did you love watching growing up, and who have you really enjoyed to battle against over your 100 years of playing?
I love 100 years. I loved Simon Black, so he was sort of my favourite when I was coming through. And then I had like the ability to play against him a few times up at like Brisbane and stuff, and that was just amazing experience. Like I remember just trying to be like, hey, can I get on ball? I just want to like play on him. Like, and the people would be like, I was 19. Like, no, go to half forward. And like someone would come off like, I'm on ball. I was just always used to try and get myself to play on him. And then Lenny Hayes was the other one. Yeah. So I've always loved, I just admired the way he went both ways, and he was so physical. Yeah. And then like good battles. I don't know. I feel like they're like good battles now, because so much more team orientated now, like team defense. You don't have too many one-on-ones anymore.
You're right.
Yeah. So just those guys.
Who did you like growing up? Like which particular, you mentioned Buddy, obviously. Was there any others?
Scotty was one. Obviously, you, Cripper, Lockie, because I only started watching footy more intently, I think, after I finished playing. When I was younger, I didn't really watch it as much. But yeah, Buddy was a big one that I love. But as Scotty said, there's so many dudes out there, it's hard to pinpoint in on one. But I love watching. I was obviously a Hawks fan, and but I didn't start watching footy, I'd say, more until after I finished playing. Because when I was younger, I was so focused on, I used to go to the local footy every weekend. Saturday, I was there from 12 to 6 p.m. watching WRFL, Yarraville Seven Boys play. So I never really watched the AFL till I was 15, 16 and finished playing.
Yeah, gotcha. Do you guys have like Pendles obviously just had a long time as being the captain of the Collingwood Footy Club, and one of the most selfless players I've ever played with, which is something I just didn't know about you. Like when I got here, it's unbelievable. Just like everything is about the team. It's just incredible. Do you guys have like captains in the NBA? Like, do you like, because obviously in Australian culture is, we in AFL, we have like a leadership group. Like, do you have someone who's like the leader of the team?
No, we don't have like a captain, so to say. I mean, you have obviously the better players are obviously leaders. Shay, you would say, is our leader. But no, we don't have, essentially a captain. Lakers, you'd probably say LeBron, AD, they're two leaders. You just go around the league, and the veterans, the older guys typically lead, but captaincy is not really a thing, in the States.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, before the game they do like a captain's meeting, but they all, we always send like a rookie. That's kind of the joke about the NBA, and one of the rookie duties is, you go to the captain's meeting at the start and do that type of stuff.
You get your backpack, like a Barbie backpack or something. They still do
I didn't do anything. They do it. I was lucky. My vets are great to me. I had nothing. I didn't do anything. The worst thing they did, they put like a a snake in my car on
real snake?
No, it was fake, but it looked real. That was like the worst thing that happened to me, but they didn't make me do anything.
Yeah,
So vets are massive in the NBA, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like they talk all the time, like you got to get good vets in for the culture.
They're great.
Yeah.
If you get good vets,
Why is it so important?
Because I'd say younger guys when they come in the league, that's who they turn to.
Yeah.
The vets and the older guys, and if you have vets, that are doing the wrong thing or not good dudes, that's kind of who people are going to follow. It's important. Our vets are great. I love my vets, and we don't really have any anymore. Our oldest guy I think is 28 or 29. But having good vets is important.
It'd be as much about on court, off court would be, just as valued, wouldn't it? Because guys, looking after their money and setting themselves up and just setting the right example. Who are some of the better renowned vets around the league who have that reputation of being really good?
Udonis Haslem, he's been.
Yeah, well, he's 40 and he's still. He got to take foul off the bench the other day.
Yeah, he's still got. He's obviously one of the vet in the league. My vet was Mike Muscala. He's in Boston now, but he was awesome. I loved him. But there's a lot of good vets around the league, but a lot of it is off the court, especially when it comes to, younger dudes are not going to go out of the way to organize dinners and organize team events, and that's where the vets come in. So they're good, and it's important to have good ones.
100%. Well, we got a good one in Pendles.
Exactly.
So
AFL is different though, isn't it? We're not really about veterans and keeping them around too long, isn't it? It's always frowned upon. Like say like Jack Rewalt and Cochin at the moment, they're sort of getting questioned, like did they play 1 year too long?
Yeah.
And I would just argue all the time, like doesn't matter if they played one, like they're young kids would be getting so much out of
100%.
what they can pass on just in terms of like how you look after your body, how you manage the emotion of the season.
Yeah.
But it's like
you can't really measure that impact, can you, on what that may do for a player's career who's about to head into the next 10 years of his career.
Yeah. Well, I remember just sitting down like with Braden Maynard when he was like in his third year, and he was like loose and just being like, hey mate, you need to like sharpen up here and here or you'll be gone in like 4 or 5 years. And like he still says today, like that really helped him just having that chat. But I was like, if you don't have people looking out for you, like 23-year-olds aren't looking out for the next 23-year-old.
No.
I feel like you need those guys around to just help straighten people out every now and again.
100%. Yeah, at that age, I guess you're very focused on what you're doing, but without the bigger picture in mind. So, no, it's well said, boys. We better wrap it up. But that was unbelievable chat. It's good to have you back in the country.
It's great to be back.
Pendles, we need you back this week. So get those stitches taken out of your eye. And thanks so much, boys, for jumping on. Good chat.
Sweet.
Appreciate it.
He's a superstar. He is an absolute superstar, Tom Mitchell. Cripps at the back. Cripps is too good. Neil